All right, hi guys. So we're gonna spend another day decomposing ones into tenths and also tenths into hundredths. So just one quick thing I want to mention about uh, ones and decomposing ones into tenths and tenths into hundredths. It made what I was seeing on the work was that people were getting the bottom answer right, but I didn't see the decompositions complete. Some of them, most of them were only half done. Only one person actually did all of them. I don't know if it was a problem with Google Classroom and when you submitted it, it wasn't saving or something. But make sure if it is that, I'll try to figure out why that was happening. But make sure you're doing out these decompositions because it's going to help you see the relationship between the one tenths and hundredths. And another quick thing I just want to go over is we'll talk more about this eventually, but so how many tenths are actually in a one? We already know this. Like, think about when we were doing fractional tenths. How many fractional tenths would it take to make 10 tenths? What's already there in the answer? What's our numerator? It's 10. It took 10 1/10ths. If we kept going up by 10, a tenth, 1/10, 2/10, 3/10, 4/10, 5. Then we kept going and going. Eventually we get to 10 tenths. It took 10 tenths to make that fraction. And now look at that fraction. The numerator is 10, the denominator is 10. 10 tenths, that fraction is equal to 1. 10 tenths is equal to 10 tenths right here makes one whole. And that's the same is true when we're working with decimals like we are. It takes 10 tenths to make one whole. So if we kept counting and adding up by tenths, by 1/10 every time, 5 tenths, 6 tenths, 7 tenths, 8 tenths, 9 tenths. We had that last one, that 10 tenth. We now have a 1 in the ones place and a 0 in the tenth place because we have one whole. So whenever we add 10 of our whatever unit we're with, whenever we add 10 of them, we make whatever the next place value is. So 10 tenths makes 1 1. And that's true about ones too. What did 10 ones make? 10 ones make 1/10. If the 10 was here, we didn't put it. It's not on our chart. We don't really need it right now. But so if 10 tenths makes a 1, it's the same thing for hundredths. 10 hundredths makes one little tenth. And we know that. We've been counting by hundredths already. So if we kept counting by hundredths, you have 4 hundredths, 5 hundredths, 6 hundredths, 7 hundredths, 8 hundredths, 9 hundredths, and on that 10th hundredth, that 9 in the hundredths place becomes a 0. We have a 1 in the 10th place because when we added that next hundredth, we made 1/10 or 10 hundredths. Remember this number we worked with for a while. Those are the same numbers. 10 hundredths is equal to 1/10. Just like 10 tenths is equal to 1 1. Whenever you add 10 of one of whatever value you're working with, whenever you add 10 of them, you make one of the next place value. So that's why when we decompose them or when we break them up, this 1 will become 10 tenths. How many tenths are in this 1? That's what we're asking. So let's highlight it just to show that it's the one we're decomposing. And then when we write those tenths, we want them to be the same color, so I know it belongs with that 1. So now we make 10 tenths. So I got 1 there, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 tenths. Imagine we broke up this 1. We broke up this 1 into 10 tenths. Those are the 10 tenths that make up that 1. It's like, imagine you had $1 and you wanted to get change for it. Your friend had change for it, and they had dimes. If you gave your friend $1 and they gave you dimes, they would give you 10 dimes. It's like the money may have changed itself. Like instead of $1, you now have 10 coins, 10 dimes, but the value is the same. So this 1 1 and these 10 tenths, that equals the same thing. So I hope that makes sense. So even if I had 2 ones, I had another one, and I had two ones altogether, we would just break up this one too. Do a different color so I know it belongs with the next group we're going to make. So imagine we had another dollar. We had another one. We want to break it up into the tenths it's made of. We want to decompose it into tenths. It'd just be another 10 of them. Make sure that's yellow so I know it belongs with. So instead of 1 1, we had 2 1s. How many tenths does 2 1s equal? Well, now we just add all the tenths. Well, there's 10 in this group, 10 in this group, so that's 20. It's almost like you could look at it like this, like we got rid of these ones. It's like we broke them up, just like we broke up the dollar. We broke up those ones, and they became these tenths. But I'm actually gonna leave those up, and you should too. But just to give you the idea, it's almost like those ones aren't there anymore because we made them into tenths. So the same thing is true with hundredths. We want to turn these 2 tenths into hundredths. Just like 10 tenths make 1 1, 10 hundredths makes one of these little tenths. See that one I just highlighted there? Just this one little tenth would become 10 hundredths. So geez, imagine if we decompose all those, that would be a lot. That would be like 200 hundredths. But we broke up, if we just took one of those tenths, or we could do it here, just take this 1/10, and we want to break it up into hundredths. Just like it takes 10 tenths to become 1 1, it takes 10 hundredths to become 1/10. So let's decompose it. So there's our 100th. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That is 10, right? 1, 2, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yep. So we decomposed that tenth, became 10 hundredths. So now let's decompose this tenth. Go with green. So we take these 10 tenths, we can use those, copy and paste them. And then I'll just change the color so I know it belongs with that other tenth. So each tenth is made up of 10 hundredths, or it takes 10 hundredths to make 1/10. So to use the dollar analogy again, so we had a dollar, we wanted to change for our dollar, and our friend gave us dimes back. So if we gave them the dollar, they would give us 10 dimes back. The type of money may have changed, like we now have 10 coins instead of just $1, but the value is the same. They equal the same. Same thing. So imagine we took two of those tenths, we brought them down here, 2 of those dimes. And now we want to change for our dimes. Well, a dime's worth 10 cents. So now imagine we gave our friend 1 dime. They gave us back 10 pennies. And so now we have 10 hundredths, or 10, if we gave in the dime, we have 10 pennies. So instead of now the money, again, the type of money changed, but the value is the same. They're equal the same. Because we gave 1 dime to our friend and they gave us back 10 pennies. So same idea. And so what you also might see is I might do something like this. So 2 tenths, you start with 2 tenths, just like we did already, but also we have 4 hundredths already. So when you see that, those 2 tenths will already be there, and also at the top, the 4 hundredths will be there. They won't be highlighted. Imagine we didn't do the decompositions yet. We started with the 2 tenths, and then we also already had these 4 hundredths. So we're still going to decompose these, and it would be the same thing. We take this 1/10, it became these 10 hundredths. Take this 1/10, it become these 10 hundredths. But we're not going to highlight these because we don't need to. They were already there. But now we're going to add them all together. So we make sure they count them all together. So we know we had 4 to start off with, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then each tenth we broke up into 10 hundredths. So that's 10 here, another 10 here. So that's 10, 20, 1, 2, 3, 4. 24 hundredths. So 2 tenths and 4 hundredths is 24 hundredths. All right, so we'll do another day of practice with this. So make sure, so again, I don't know if it was the problem with submitting it, but most people's decompositions weren't finished. So make sure if you're not doing those, that you're doing those. That's the part I really want to see. And if it was an issue, let me know, because then let me know tomorrow on Google Chat. So then, or the Google Hangouts. So then I can try to figure out a way to make it work. So good luck with this, and I'll be on tomorrow if you have any questions. So I'll talk to you soon.